Welcome to this panel discussion on navigating the challenges of AI. So as some of you may know, especially because it was always in the communication, 1 year ago, ChatGPT was released on the 30th of November. And since then, a lot of things happened. It surprised many people, and yeah, a lot of things happened. So I'm going to do just a short 10-15 minutes presentation on what's currently the state of the world around AI, and then we'll have a discussion with 3 speakers, and afterwards, obviously, an apéro with hot chocolate from Chocopoly. So, who used general purpose AI last year? Quick show of hands. So basically everyone. Who used this kind of system more than 1 year ago? Okay, 10-15%. So some of you. Who 2 years ago? Oh wow, 1 person. Which system was it?
I was working with transform models like work-based.
Okay, cool. So as you can see, there's been like a massive increase of just how many people know of the system, how many people use of the system, and that's not surprising. That's not surprising because we put a lot more resources into this field. Whether it's money, the number of researchers has grown immensely in the past 10 years of people working on AI, whether it's the amount of compute, of data, of energy, and just of press, publicity, and hype that is fueled in this direction. So what do we have now? We have ChatGPT, as you may know, but we have also other models that are aiming to be more autonomous or have other features, such as vision or the ability to browse the internet. Adapt AI is a model that can, like for instance, book flights for you. It's going to like click on the right button and those kind of things. Or AutoGPT, which is a framework based around any large language model or any language model that have the ability to split tasks into smaller tasks and then like recursively call other instances of, for instance, GPT-4 to achieve some user-specified goal. They may or may not work as well as depicted in the commercial advertisement, but those kind of things exist. There's also other kind of things that we've developed. For instance, there's been romantic chatbots. One example, but not the only one, is Xiaoi's from Microsoft that has more than 600 million users, mostly around China. And so people are developing strong bonds also with this technology. It's not only in China, but there's also like Replica, for instance, that's more used in Europe and in the US. This obviously raises some of the questions, but that's for later. And then, so we've seen big changes in technology. Then we saw around 8 months ago a first open letter asking to pause giant AI experiments, interestingly by roughly the same people that developed those technologies, and a second one saying that mitigating the risk of extinction from AI is a global priority, similarly to nuclear war or pandemics. That is signed by roughly the same people and also the one developing those technologies, which is interesting. In reaction to this, which is quite 2 strong statements, we've seen quite a change also in how the policy world reacted. There's the, for instance, in the European Union, there's the EU AI Act that's been brewing for now a bit more than 2 years, which is, to be quick, a risk-based approach on putting bounds and limitations, regulations on AI systems based on which use case and which risk they pose. The second trilogue session to like accept all amendment between like the 3 the three main bodies of the European Council, no, institutions, is tomorrow. So lots of things happening, like literally now. And there's also lots of things happening a bit further away. For instance, if you cross the English Channel, the United Kingdom had last month the AI Safety Summit, which brought together 28 countries, including Switzerland, and they signed the Bletchley Declaration, which is one of the first thing of its kind of agreements against multiple states on the fact that AI should be designed, developed, deployed, and used in a manner that is safe, in such a way as to be human-centric, trustworthy, and responsible. They also launched an AI Safety Institute following that and many other initiatives. If you cross the ocean, then the US is doing many other things, whether it's on like internal governance or on preventing China from accessing the high-end chips that are used to develop the frontier area models. And on the other hand, China is also doing its own governance of AI, with, for instance, their global AI governance initiative. If we go back a bit more closer to home, in Switzerland, we saw yesterday there was an announcement for the Swiss AI initiative, which is a joint initiative between the EPFL and the ETHZ, focused around transparent and reliable AI. It's not clear to me what it entirely entails, especially given that the announcement was yesterday, but one thing that is clear is that it's also, they're building a supercomputer, the ALPS supercomputer, with 10,000 GPUs, which is quite a big thing. And it's yet to be seen how it translates into like, transparency and reliability. But there's many things to happen. So that's a brief overview. I think I'd like to welcome our three speakers. So there's first Catherine Pugin, who has a PhD in computer science from the University of Fribourg. And then she worked for the Federal Data Protection and Information Commissioner around the issues of privacy and transparency. She also worked for TA Suisse, which is a foundation for technological assessment. And she is now the delegate for digital affairs of the state of Vaud, in French, the délégué au numérique. So welcome Catherine. Yeah, you can use this one so that we're in the same order. We have Johan Johan Rochel, excuse me, who has a PhD in law and philosophy, was the vice president of the think tank arose for 7 years, and has now founded Ethics, a lab for innovations, for ethics of innovation, and is now a postdoctoral researcher and teaches ethics and law of AI here at EPFL. Welcome, Johan. And last but not least, we have Lennig Pedron, who has expertise in cybersecurity and emerging technology, especially applied to the digital trust economy. She works at the EPFL Innovation Park, so just next door, and she's the CEO of the Swiss Trust Valley Initiative. She also co-founded and is the president of the NGO ICON, which represents a network of more than 100 digital trust experts. And she also published a book, The Fundamentals of Crisis Management. So welcome, Lennig. So so we have one microphone here. Is it on? No. No? 1, 2, 1, 3.
Yes, yes.
Oh, nice. So we've seen a lot of changes during this year. What new challenge or what new topics of discussions around this challenge have you seen in your respective institution? Maybe I'd like to ask first for Lennig, Pedron.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be with you today, this night. Lot of about external view. We work. So I am the director of the Trust Valley. This is a PPP, so a public-private partnership. So we work with academics for sure, but also with private sector, startup, SMB, SMEs, and corporates. And all our actors ask how we can deal with AI. We just want to work with AI, or we work with AI already, and how we can deal with that with good culture and ethical view. And also in my team, it's really a challenge because a lot of my team is use AI, and we are looking for some checkpoint, some guide right now to go further and to do that very well. I'm very happy to hear that EPFL about the Swiss AI initiative. For us, it's really a good news because we want to go further with open source. So on it.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you again for the invitation, the organization of this event. Well, a lot of things happened in last year, so I will be talking, Diego, I hope this is what you wanted or what you expected. I will be talking more about the ethical question. Of course, if you address the democratization of generative AI, let's say 1 year ChatGPT as a keywords, it was very good for us because with the democratization of the tool is also democratization of the ethical challenges. So a lot of people have been talking much more about the ethical challenges, even if they were on the table for not only 1 year, right? So I don't think they are new questions, but the questions are much clearer to a broader audience. Also within companies, the people get aware, leadership, people in decision position, they are much more aware of the challenges, question, risk, you put it the way you want. And so a lot of people, I don't want to say they were calling us every day with ethical question, but the interest in the ethics of AI has been rising a lot. And that was very interesting for me as a researcher and for me as providing consultancy services. So we've been working with company, with institution. Just one example, one project we did last year was with the foundation Mercator, which is one of the big German foundation dealing with digital question. And we were making some interviews across economic activities and asking two very simple questions. What is the impact of the tool? So we were in January 23. So asking people, do you use it? Basically the two questions you ask first, or do you use it? What for? What is happening within your organization, company? And the second question, do you see a value question? Do you see an ethics question in this use? And that was a starting point of a conversation with these people. I mean, if you talk with, let's say, a small communication agency, so designers, or creative economy kind of company, of course, they will be telling us, well, we've been using that kind of tool for quite a long time, so we know. So DALL-E, Midjourney, all the pictures generating tool, they've been using it for quite a long time, let's say. And so they were much more advanced in addressing the ethical question. Well, what does it mean for me if I have to do something for a client? Should I say that I'm using a specific tool? I mean, that it's me, but it's me with a machine. Does it have an impact on the price? I'm asking. So very basic question, right? Do you make the same invoice as before with the machine or without the machine? And it's obviously a question of trust with your client, of honesty with yourself if you want. And so you are in the middle of an ethical discussion in like 2 minutes. And that was very interesting to see people addressing this kind of issue and thinking about, oh, well, this tool is changing the way I work and what I do for my clients, and I need to take that into account. Just an example.
Thanks. And what about inside the administration?
Thanks for the invitation from my side as well. It's a challenge for the administration for sure, because as you may know, or as you know, the time of the administration is not the times of the technology. But I see maybe 2 points. First, we have laws today that are not digital ready for sure, digital friendly also not. So we have to deal with such topics as AI in a context that doesn't simplify things. And what I see really is a need and a demand from the population, from the civil society for transparency. Are we using such systems? Yes, no. The parliament is also asking many questions about, do you use AI in the administration today? For what? And this is not that easy to to answer, because what we notice now is that we have a very limited view on what is really happening in the administration at the moment. So we're taking the subject, trying to find solutions, but it's quite a complex environment for us.
I see. Is there currently a pressure inside the administration to use more AI systems? And if so, how is it reacting to it?
It's not a pressure, it's a will.
Okay.
Because we have, as you may know, an administration makes a lot of decision for the population. And when you see the taxation decisions, there are many per years. So if we can use AI or other systems to do them automatically, it's really a gain in efficiency. For instance, the fiscality, finance department is really willing to use such tools, but on the other side, you have the law, data protection law, who gives some requirements. One is transparency, so we should inform when we use tools to make automatic decision. And the question is, okay, we gain in efficiency using these tools to take decision, but if you inform the citizen that this decision has been taken automatically, are you not? We're certainly expecting more and more callback if complaints, and maybe on the other side you lose efficiency because you have to answer more and more questions from the population. So how do we do this balance? It's a point, and how are we using these tools with our laws and everything? That's really what we are dealing with right now.
Interesting. So there's at the same time a will to use them for decision making, because you just take too much decision. But on the other hand, it's more like, are the main challenge that you face that you get more complaints potentially, or
not at that point, because not yet. But it's a risk, and we have to just find a way to go with that. And at the same time, we see this will and this need for transparency. We had a request last June from Algorithm Watch. You may know it's an NGO dealing with algorithm and data in general, which is very active on the AI Act you mentioned before. And they ask us a very easy question. What decisions are today taken automatically in the administration? And it was very, very hard to answer, because what is a decision, what is an automatic decision, it's not that clear. We tried to make the work for them. I think they were happy with our answer, but we see we have a lot of work to do to continue on this move. And we want to work in a modern environment. As the private sector, we really have to deal with and introduce AI in a certain manner, for sure.
Thanks for this detailed response. Do you think that in 5 or 10 years, a lot of those kind of decisions will be automated? Like, is it only the more like task, like tax decision, for instance, which are also like very rule-based in the first place, or like is there a need, and maybe that's also something that's relevant for you, Lennig, of automating decision making at a higher level?
What I can say is today there is no barrier in the law to take any decision automatically. So we could take any decision automatically. When it goes to a taxation decision, okay, there is a lower risk. When it goes about children care or family stuff, or you can imagine every decision an administration can take, we really have to have an ethical discussion as well to set a framework. When can we take decisions automatically and when not? We will need help from the ethical guys. You're coming. I don't know what is going to happen. At that point today, the law sets no barrier at all. But it will in the future for sure, because we cannot, or not, because maybe we'll find other ways to go through these questions. But for sure, it will be a subject for us.
For Johan, or do you want to add something on this automated decision inside?
Yes, some things about that. I think it's really comfortable for the human brain to have a decision made by automatically or by a machine, because we have seen with a lot of study that if we have too much choice to do, it's easier to have one or five only choice to do. So I think legal side is open. We have saw that also with HR. A lot of bots are working very well right now, and we see more and more chatbot and so on. So yes, in 10 years, I think maybe this is the end just of Office as we know, Word and Excel and the document we work on it, and we took a lot of time to create something very nice and so on. I had a discussion with a startup, a spin-off of EPFL named Clear Sky on it, and they said that they think that for the next year, but very close to us, we will really change our way to create documents and to have some solution and to work together. So yeah, I think that. Professor?
Yeah. So
brain machine?
Do you want to scream?
You have a question for me?
Yeah, it's for the three of you, but I think I want to link this question with the open letters that I mentioned before. Do you think that? So I'm curious both about your reaction when you discovered when you heard about those letters, and then do you think that this kind of mechanism of like a lot of automated decision making inside businesses or inside the administration, if this was the basis of the concern, or if it's something else, and maybe for you.
I mean, maybe just say some things. My concern is more about cybercrime, about that, because they use AI since a long time in hacking and so on. So I think we really need to defend also our part. So yeah, it's good to see only the bad things and so on, but I think we really need to go further and defend our assets right now.
So for you, catastrophic challenges from AI are more on the side of it helps cybercrime a lot to automatically find vulnerabilities or do those kind of things.
Yes, clearly, and the algorithmic part is used since a long time by cybercrime, and yeah, it's not new, really.
On the automatism question, or maybe there was a connection to your point, I don't know, because you told us there was a hard time defining what is a decision, okay, and what is automatic decision. And that would be my first reaction when automatic decision, well, the way the decision is produced as one question, but I guess the most important question is the responsibility of someone, and this someone is a human being, who needs to be accountable for the content of the decision. And then the way the decision is produced, it's like, well, it might be secondary, right? Because someone needs to be responsible, and this is on this side that the law needs to be very clear to give responsibility, accountability, competence to someone, and to identify this someone. Taking the family example of a decision, you can imagine very high-stakes decisions, or does this child remain within his family? Yes, no. And the administration has to take a decision. Well, then you can compute all the parameters of the situation, you come to decision. Well, this is something you can discuss. Is that a good way to take this decision? Then on this side, I see a question about where do you put human interpretation capacity to have a feeling about maybe the untold dimension of the situation, which is not expressed in data. And if not expressed in data, well, it's not taken into the automatic decision-making process, then something might be missing. But you might reply, well, this is about the quality of the decision-making process, right? And in theory, you can make it perfect if you have a perfect set of data, that kind of discussion, okay? But on the other side, what I think the main ethical question is this someone takes all this material, get a recommendation, and then takes a decision. And this someone is the face of the state, is the face of the public authority. And he's defending, or she's defending the decision taken, right? In a conversation with the family members, though. So if you follow me on that line, I think we can focus on avoiding responsibility diffusion, so responsibility gap, that someone is not responsible or nobody feels responsible in a specific situation, which is one big trap. And the second one is about the design of this process to avoid, but then we need to go very contextual, to avoid that, if the machine is telling me, well, you should do this recommendation, well, how to make sure that a real substantial control is still possible. We speak about meaningful control, and not just pro forma control, that I got the recommendation, well, or I just check, but I know I will never be against that recommendation. So basically, the recommendation is final without my intervention. And this is the tricky part, and it's a bit of a slippery slope, because the first two cases, you are very attentive, you look very cautiously, but then after 10,000 cases, then, well, just go like this, right? And then there is this responsibility question, which is very, very important for a public authority. But I don't know, was that the kind of discussion you were having with defining what is an automatic decision?
Sorry. No, it's a discussion we just started last week, I have to say. No, it's a discussion we have, but no, we set up, there was a will from our department chief to set up a interdepartmental group to address this question and to set up a AI or strategy, or will look like what we're going to see what it's going to look like, but really to address this question. So with this, what we saw last week in this discussion, there is a need from the services of the administration to get answer, to ask these questions of responsibility as well. But it's not that easy. And the question of transparency in the same time, it's really not easy. If you have to put at the end of every administrative decision a line saying taken by an AI at some point, we're not sure what it's going to bring to us as a response from the population. So it's, we're trying to find a way to get, maybe for another example that I was told last week, in a service from the administration, they get a real story. They get a question from a citizen, and a human took the question, make a response, A4 letter, page or something. And the citizen came back saying, "Oh, you should have told me that your response was generated with ChatGPT." And the question was, will there be a need in a few years to say when a response is generated by a human and not by a machine? Just turning the question back.
You said in a few weeks or in a few years?
Years, maybe weeks.
Tomorrow. So, one question from the public, so you can ask your questions there. I forgot to mention before. But to go back on what you said about you're worried about cybersecurity and the development of AI. I know, for instance, you also care a lot about open sourcing and having accessible, like just transparency and openness in general. So, is this something that you've thought about before? The potential of a lot of misuse from the development of those models, especially if they are public and accessible by anyone, versus the benefits that it brings to, like, safety research organizations that can use them without going through, big overseas companies or those kind of things.
Maybe one thing about what we said just before. Few years ago, we have seen a case in UK relative to police, and policeman had the opportunity to use an algorithm to take solution, to take action. And what we have seen with that is that the policeman just say, "Okay, this is the system. It's right now. I can just trust it, and I just do that." So at the end of the predictive action, Minority Report and so on, the film, and UK stopped that because it was really a mess. And my feeling a few years after, right now, is that if it's happened right now, I'm not sure that we will stop it, because it's going so. It's a rapid time. I think we are in new open window right now, and to continue with cybersecurity, I think we don't know, as said by Catherine, so how much we are linked with the algorithm. For example, if we talk about Tinder or so on, we are all on influence of algorithmic part. So. About that, I think we have really to right now find some checkpoint guidelines. We need you, Professor, because my feeling is really about it's going so quick, and we really need to go to the next level with all is going on algorithmic spark. What I see about cybercrime is really growing, and they use a lot of brick about hacking and so on, and they have no ethics on that, and they're working very well. And a second concern is not only about AI, but when we will have also the quantum, and we will work we will deal with emerging technology, and always going with that. So.
And so to go back to the question of open sourcing and democratizing access to these kind of models. I think you pointed very well at the possible downsides, but how to navigate this decision.
I think we really need to have open source right now. It's really a good news to have this initiative on it, and yes, because I see a lot of people who are working with private product and so on, and we have some discussion with Luxembourg and other country on it, and I think we really need to have open data, but it's not so easy just say, okay, we will put all the things, all the data open, and we will deal with that, because there is also a big corporate who will deal with this kind of open data, and but we really need to work together with you, and to test and to find some solution. And I work a lot with startup. I see during the last year a very new kind of startupper arrive and try to find some product, but not enough with open source. So I'm very happy, and I really want that we go further with this new initiative, but we'll see. We'll see.
Thanks. Johan, do you... I saw you scribble a lot of things.
I think it's more interesting to have Catherine's opinion on that, because there is a trade-off with this open data. I mean, I can pitch you the classical philosophical argumentation for open source, but I guess you know it. As a practical example, we were with other people involved in this writing the new constitution of the Canton du Valais. So we have a new constitution, and in there we had the principal discussion about should we force or require from the government, so from the executive branch, to have this open data policy in the constitution, which is, let's say, the higher level of expectation you might, well, this is very clear commitment or request, please do open data policy. And well, I think the argument is quite clear. As a citizen, you pay for the government to do something. In order to do its task, the government needs data, and the next step would be to say, well, give the data back. Give the data back to the citizen. Actually, it belongs to the citizen. You will reply to that. Okay. And of course, we see we have a practical issue. It costs something. It's not just for free to give the data back. You need to prepare the data. You need to make sure that there is some kind of quality standards. Because if there is a state institution which says these are the data, there is a question of trust. So it is a question of quality. You cannot just do anything. Okay, so there is a cost. Open data costs something, and quite costs a lot: time, energy, resources, money. So also mental space. Also, almost. Of course, it costs more at the beginning. So the first steps are quite costly. As soon as it's quite a standard part of the process that you collect data and you know already how they are going to be made public at some point, I guess you collect them a bit different and you are already into the process. This is one part of counter-argumentation. But it's not against the principle. It's against how quick how far-reaching are you, because it just costs money. So it's trade-off between money and the principle of open data, I guess. And there is a second kind of discussion, which is, well, then open data by, the train company in this country, so CFF. And then Google is coming, and Google is just using the resources, because this is classical argumentation, right? Open data is good for the economy, because the economy, the young startup comes, do something with the data, and it's innovation. Well, cool story. What if it's not a cool startup from the EPFL, but it's Google? Well, it's the economy, right? But it's just a giant using free resources prepared by the states, paid by the citizen. Well, then the story might look a bit different. The question is, can you have the small startup story without the big Google story? Well, it's difficult without discriminating against these economic actors, saying, you're okay, you're not okay. But then you need to find a good ground to say, you're okay, you're not okay. Well, this is the tricky trade-off. Open data, well, it's open. Well, then. Fair enough? Okay, let's go now.
No, I may just add one point to this. Okay, the money is a question. Google using Swiss data for free, not paying taxes here in Switzerland. Okay, but what if now Google uses, for instance, mobility data to define a new service that goes in opposition with the mobility strategy we try to put in place in Switzerland, for instance, but in the Canton Vaud in particular. For instance, at some points, comment on dit, bouchon? Okay, traffic jam. He's wanted in the mobility strategy. You don't want cars to go in quarters where people live. You want people to stay on the main roads. Okay, and if suddenly Google, based on this mobility data they collected for free, send you with this service in these quarters where the politics don't want people to go because you want people to live in in calm situation or so on. There is really this idea, how do we do that open data is used for the common goods and not for only commercial reason. I think the Métropole from the Grand Lyon in France, they're very active in the open data stuff and developed a specific license called License for Common Good. So you may use the data they put for free on their website, but you have to announce what for and what is your service. And for instance, you have to prove that your service goes in the is there for the common good before everything else. This is not the position of Switzerland. It's really an open position. We open the data. It should be available for everybody. We can live with that as well, but yeah. But maybe we go a bit far from the from the AI discussion to the question of open source. For sure, it's interesting. But what we have to what we see now, it's who is active in this AI game. For now, it's people who have billions of dollars. It's a big ones, GAFAM and so on. You saw the whole story with Sam Altman and OpenAI going to Microsoft, coming back the day after. You see how much Microsoft invest in AI, and Google, Amazon, Facebook as well. So what we see now, it's there is not a lot of place, from my point of view, for an ethical AI. We're really in this commercial battle. So how do we deal with that? I think the initiative from EPFL and ETH, it's a good one. Will we have once an AI made and used in Switzerland for Switzerland, maybe for other actors as well? It's a good point, because for us, as an administration, another point is really the use of the data. You know, I said it before, that what we do should be conform to laws. Data protection law is one of them, and the other one is dealing with secret fonction. Sorry, what we learn. Function secrets, something like that. Sorry, work secret. And that makes it difficult today to use an AI system which is located in the US, for instance, because you have to put in it data that belongs to the state, and that will be treated and used to train a system based in another country. It's not only for systems like general AI, ChatGPT and so on, but for easy systems like translators online. There are some service in the administration, for instance, the police, which has a very strict rule on this. People, policemen, policewomen are not allowed today to use such DeepL translators, because there is a big risk that the data they ask to be translated for remain in a data center somewhere in another country. And maybe such initiative as Alps new data center will bring some answer to that, which we will really enjoy and looking forward to.
Thanks. It's nice that you mentioned what happened at OpenAI last week, 2 weeks ago, because the most voted question is about it. So as most of you might know, OpenAI's board unsuccessfully fired its CEO, Sam Altman. And so the question is, did that change your mind about the state of the field, and what impact it had on the state of the field? And what do you think about the role of the public opinion in this story?
The question is, what do you think about the Altman fire on this situation?
What did it change about your understanding of the world, but in particularly about the field of AI?
Nothing.
You expected it.
No, yeah, for sure. For me, it's a usual situation when an industry is coming, and right now we can make money with AI, so it's a normal situation. It's only economic and money. We will see another situation like that. What I really want to say to the student here, for me, I think it's really an unbelievable opportunity for you. And you are at EPFL, and this Swiss initiative is really an opportunity to go further and to show what you can do on it and create startup or go on big project, depending on what we want to do. But I really want to say something about the governance of the internet. We have seen 33 years ago live in CERN with the web, and this is for me the same. We are in the same time, so but relative to AI, and you can do the things. I think Switzerland gives you all the things to do better than we have done with the web. So just do it and show that it's the possibility to create a sustainable AI world is possible. And I really want to see you, to do transfer of technology with you in the few years, and just to support you, and I'm sure we can do together. You want to add something?
No, that was very emotional.
But let's, or did you have?
On the Sam Altman story?
Yeah.
Just three. I have 3 lessons learned for me. The first one is about the narrative. I found completely crazy the way this story was escalated as humanity is at stake. This is completely insane. Even Swiss newspaper, I mean, take Le Temps, take one of the journalists, Anoush Setega, there's also sometimes some even live sticker on what's going on, and I mean, it was just completely crazy. So, but again, this is the power of the narratives. Even a crisis is taken as an example of something incredibly big, which is, oh, look, crazy. Second is the lessons learned that you can have mechanism in the law, which is in that case in the form of the company, well, in the US form, but again, you can take the same in Switzerland. Depending on the kind of company you have different check and balances, right? You might have a board and an executive power, more of a CEO, and the two are not the same because there is some reason, right? It's about taking risk and managing risk within the company. Again, if you have a foundation, if you have an association, the different legal form are embedded with checks and balances mechanism. And in that case, obviously, it was too weak to hold the pressure. So it just nothing. So the counterpart, which was this kind of council function, well, obviously it didn't do the job the way it should, or the way we can assess from external. So again, think about, maybe it goes into the license for common good. Maybe we need a new kind of legal form for a company, which is a social common good company with business possibility, which can kind of a mix between an association, a foundation, so the common good idea, and the business part. And the discussion has been ongoing in Switzerland. How can we create this new legal vehicle of the social company, which can be interesting? And the third one is we need more competition in this business. Because of the slide you showed, all the big are taking a lot. So bring competition back. If you are liberal and you believe in free market and you believe in competition, and I think I do, then we need competition, and we need less of this very big just having control on the market and just imposing condition of exchange, and so bring back market thinking. So we need more market, I think.
Thanks. Or did you want to add something?
Maybe I was very naive, but I always thought OpenAI was this AI for good, and we see that it's not. So I really agree. We should have now other actors that deal with AI and bring another story about it. And for sure, for 1 year now, we're reading so many papers on AI in Le Temps, in other journals as well. But it's really amazing how it takes a lot of places, and for that I'm very happy to be in the administration and have this slow time, always be a bit too late for things, but it let us time to think about things, to deal with a subject like this. We are not pushed to develop AI very fast. We really have the time to think about it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was very interesting. There's the second question, goes follow what you said. Like, there's this popular motto in the startup culture, which is move fast and break things, right? That was used by Facebook until, I don't know, 2014, but maybe they still use it. I don't know. And the question is, should we support this as the impact of AI increase, especially regarding open source? Or do we want to go a bit, or maybe much slower?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, I can. So the question is, so there's the move fast and break things. Yeah. And the question is, should we support this principle, especially as the impacts of AI increase and related to open source?
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Someone?
Yes.
Move fast, maybe, but don't move alone. And I think this is the point. It's always better to take ethical people, people from soft science or sociologist or sociologist, or so this kind of where you came from. But move fast, okay, why not, but don't move alone. And I think we really need on this subject an interdisciplinary discussion to take into account all risk and everything. So move fast if you want to, don't move alone.
And I know that in Switzerland we are not the first mover, and what we can be is smart mover. Maybe it's an option to do the things, and what we really need is to have to combine engineer and also digital humanities. It's really an issue that I was yesterday at the Graduate Institute, and also with some researcher of Oxford in AI. And for the startup, for example, what we always do is pitches, and we only ask them some question about business and about technical product part. And what we really want to do in the Trust Valley right now is to add also some social impact question, and to have psychologists and sociologists and so on. And I think we are not good here. We really need to have this human point of view and work on it. And yeah, with this new kind of technologies, it's really needed right now. And I think we are not good, and US are worse than us. And I think we have all needed in Switzerland to do a good job. So yes.
Thanks.
Smart mover, please.
So we have 15 more minutes, and there's two topics that I want to cover. One, which is what kind of things do we need to prepare for in 5-10 years, given that this field is moving fast? And the second one going to be what changes would you like to see? What should we here at EPFL do? But first, I have a quick question for you, Catherine, because you mentioned a lot of social sciences and a lot of non-technical things, and the public here is very technical. And you came from a technical background, right? You did a PhD in computer science, and now you're working in the administration.
What happened?
So that was not my question, but my question is mostly that did you find it easy to switch to more the policy world with this background in in tech?
It took a few steps to make the transition, and it was not that difficult. I think you are encouraged now to not to study only in computer science or data science, but really to have interest in other matter as well. I think at the EPFL you have these soft skills course that are mandatory. Okay, and I took it step by step. After my PhD, I go to the Swiss Federal Data Protection Commissioner as a security expert, I think, computer science expert. It was kind of a title. I can't remember the title exactly. I was very closer to the technical, but working with legal people. And then I make a step forward to TA Suisse, this Foundation for Technology Assessment, where I needed this technical background to understand the topics, but with this will to work in an interdisciplinary matter. It was not that difficult. You just have to take it step by steps and don't be afraid for change.
Cool, thank you very much. And so, yeah, one question that I think is very important, because we want to, like, one of the reasons why we're here is because we want to act better on those the challenges that we've mentioned, and some others that we did not have the time to mention, right? And so, what do you see as issues that will be very important in the 5-10 years, especially given that 10 years ago, like the state of AI was, like most people did not talk about it. So what challenges will we face in 5-10 years, and what are the things that we should work on?
A chip in the brain of human with artificial intelligence in it. Yes, for me it's big things, and I think right now we are a human augmented already, and we will go in this way. And I see some researchers right now who are working on it, and without checkpoint about ethics, culture, and that just want to go further. And it's good for humanity maybe, but I think we really need some checkpoint. Yeah.
Checkpoint, you mean like more like checks and balances, or like counter?
To take really our behavior and use the history of human and don't do the same error, and checkpoint to be sure that we have also social person who are working with a technical person. I think we really need, this is really that to go further with BIM, so brain interface machine and so on.
Thanks.
Johan? Well, I mentioned another type of question, which is more the society challenges. I think they're also interested. Let's say I have hope in the EPFL and further research institution to bring better products, all the data, privacy, accountability, black box question. Let's say we will improve the situation on that. What remains is the impact of this AI tool on society, and the importance of labor in the sense of work, job. And because I think we have a very deeply job, labor-based society. Think about the insurance, social insurance system, think about taxation system, think about everything is based on people working from like 18 to 65. So this is also very powerful storytelling about society. So my identity is very much based on what we do. I mean, we will be drinking hot chocolate in 20 minutes. The first question you will be asking is, what do you do? Well, now you know, but what do you study? So what are you doing? What is your job? What is your professional identity? Because it's very qualifying your status in society, your function, your life, your meaning, so everything. So, and if AI, let's make the assumption, keep going on impacting the way we work, so this labor-intensive society, then we need to rethink well, almost everything, right? And this is a big topic, I think, because it goes very much into political decision about insurance system, the way we organize taxation, so all very heavily loaded discussion where we know it's not going to be quick on taking decision on this topic because we need to redraw entire system which have been in place since World War II, so to speak. And so this is kind of a big challenge, I think. And not so much linked to technical details of the AI, but it's really the impact on especially work.
I agree to what was said. What I think is very important is to see that AI is really changing our society, the way we work, the way we live, the way our children are educated, and so on. And we cannot let this topic in the hands of technical people only. It cannot be a technocratic decision that guide the road to use AI better and better. We have to have political decision. We have to have politicians that are willing to take these subjects into account, that don't have all of them to come from EPFL with an EPFL master or whatever, but they have to consider this topic as political topics. And for that, I think we need the civil society to act, to address questions, to be active, so that our politicians at the end react also on this technical stuff. An example is related to open data. We see a very strong barrier between Swiss German part and Swiss French part. Swiss German cantons are very much more active in opening their data than the cantons in the French part of Switzerland. And the only reason we see it's kind of general movement from the civil society. They have a lot of questions from journalists, from the public, to get access to this data, what we don't have in Switzerland. We're very quiet. People don't ask for open data. It's okay. So I really need, we have, you can act in the society to address these questions so that politicians at the end address them as well, and that we build together, because we have a democracy that is still working, I think, to build a society with AI for good.
And so do you think that the question of more extreme AI problem, such as like AI apocalypse, or those kind of things, are they taken seriously enough or not seriously enough? Or maybe for Johan first.
So maybe we disagree on that. Maybe we disagree with some people, but that's good for the discussion with the hot chocolate. I think no. I think this is not an interesting question. I think it's even a counterproductive question. I think it's very dangerous bias in the discussion to frame the question as being this long-term, very potential impact, humanity being under control by machine, like a matrix scenario. To say, well, look, this is the relevant question. It's just looking away from the very relevant question now about fake news, data protection, privacy, accountability, so all the questions we need to discuss, which are right now. And of course, if I would be Sam Altman and all the industry, I would say, no, don't look at that, look at that. So this is very important. And well, then you add a bit of soft power by US creative industry production, Hollywood. And of course, you need, you have this kind of mix where somebody is telling the story, the other are doing business, and there is a kind of political backup by a very powerful country, and this is the mix. Well, then look there, this is the issue. You still look at me, look there. So I don't buy it, basically. And then we can go also conceptually. I don't think that makes sense, this idea that machine will get autonomy in a sense which is threatening for human being. Conceptually, I don't see that. To launch the discussion a bit.
If I like the more usual argument is that when we are currently delegating decision making, as we started the discussion with, to these kind of machines, and so the question is how much more powerful do they need to be, so that hate the delegate too much or those kind of things, right?
I think we can ask the question to the army, because they already use this kind of technology. And it's really that for me, it's not AI alone, it's really human augmented, and we are already that. So when we see all the army on what they are doing, and they are very silent on it, this is the next step, I'm sure, for that.
To make the point clear that human will try to misuse this thing to harm other people. Well, this is for sure, right? On this one, we agree totally. I think the army example is a very good one. Yeah, but otherwise, it's really a delegation. Then it's a human responsibility question, and we're back to square one. So should we delegate this kind of competence to machine? Yes, no, in which context? And then we start again. But maybe where we agree is that we need to pay attention to the tendency, as you mentioned, right? We have constraint, we don't have enough time, we don't have money. This is for everyone in every context almost. So we have a very strong pressure to, wow, well, if we have an easy solution, well then let's use it. And so this is the point where we need to be very cautious. But it's more, again, designing the right context with the right constraint on people.
So what you were saying is it might be a problem, but it's not if we're cautious and if we take like enough time and like energy into thinking about the question of responsibility and so on. Okay. And so we have time for.
No movement.
Sorry.
No, keep it.
So we have time for one more question before the apéro. And so what I would like to end up with is what will it take to live in a world where we successfully mitigated the current challenges? What kind of changes do we need to see in order to not need panel discussions on the challenge of AI, for instance? The question is easy to ask. The answer, less.
Well, it's a bit, you could do like a Christmas wish list, right? Money, time, political will, but I think that's not the sense of the question. Economically speaking, I think really if I could bring it more competition, I think it could produce a lot of interesting impact. So if I had a lot of money, I would fund a lot of company to create this competition again, to avoid this, because this is classical history of capitalism, right? If somebody or a company has too much power, well, it's not good for the market, it's not good for competition. And we base the free market economy argumentation on the fact that it produces some interesting thing at the end. So if it's not working, then everything is very bad, because the mechanism is not working, it's not producing what is meant to produce: prosperity for everyone, or prosperity for the majority, or at least prosperity for society, so to speak. And I would really care about bringing back competition in this, avoiding this monster having so much power, and so being able to be, gatekeeper at every crossroad. But well, the next question, of course, for the apéro is how do you do that? So, and then, we see the regulation toolbox we have, it's very weak. So we cannot force this competition.
What you're asking is, how do we prevent concentration of power, right?
Yeah, exactly. That would be exactly the point from the other side. So avoiding concentration of power. So, cher Père Noël, please give me.
I think there is enough opportunity for you, for new generation, to do the things. And if we compare with pharma or food tech or so on, we have seen all the market or car industry. We have seen the same circle on it. So what we really need is to push a student on all the generation to work on it and create good economy with AI. And I think if we fail, it's it will be yes, if our corporation, I talk about also a cybersecurity corporation that we use a lot of AI. It's really, really bad because we really need a digital world, a sustainable digital world, and also for environment. So it's not only for tech environment, but really for sustainable environment for the planet. So this is what we are dealing with all the day in digital trust world.
Thanks.
My wish for AI, if we have one time, AI for good system, maybe it could change our relation to work, work easier and so on. And there is one thing we didn't address, we don't have time, but if it can help, and it's not the way it's taking right now, but if it can helps to build a world with more equality between gender, for instance, and so on, it would be a good thing. But we really have to work with tech people who are developing these systems to introduce this risk and so on. But maybe one time. And really our relation to work, maybe a 4-day week would be a good thing.
So yeah, thank you very much, Catherine, Johan, and Lennig. Keep your applause for the end, so we have only one big one. I'd like also to thank Agatha, Partival, and Fred, and the rest of Safe AI Lausanne who helped organize this panel. EA Lausanne to provide the budget for the apero, Chocopoly for making the hot chocolate, and also like everyone else that I just cannot mention. So please one big round of applause for all of this.
Thank you to you.
Thank you. So if you are wondering what Safe AI Lausanne is, so that's the group that organized this panel discussion. We have a burrito reading group. Every Tuesday we just read some paper together and then we eat burrito while discussing the paper. It's always around the topic of safety of AI. We do hackathon, talks, training days even. Yeah. So the question that I would like to take with you during the apéro and afterwards is what change do you want to see? What change do you want to make in this direction? And that's what we can talk about during the apéro. So thank you all very much.